Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. I hope you're doing well, and if you're not, I hope you are soon. Okay, so a lot of the games that I like, a lot of the games that I cover on the Dungeon Dive do have a similar setting. So many of the games, I mean, maybe 80-90% of the games that we look at on this channel take place in a dungeon or in some kind of fantasy wilderness, a fantasy setting. And for the most part, I think that's great. I am a huge fan of just like, only different. And for the longest time, I have argued that originality is really overrated. I like traditional fantasy things. I like traditional horror things. I like traditional science fiction things. And I'm totally okay with those settings being used over and over and over again. I don't have a problem with that. However, sometimes a game comes along that does take advantage of a really unique setting, and it uses its unique setting and its themes and its mechanisms to present a unique kind of game, a unique feel to the game. And so in today's top 5 list, we're looking at top 5 games with unique settings. And these are not really in any order, except for number 1, I think, is the game that utilizes its setting the best. So let's get right to it. Number 5 is Rocky Mountain Man. And Rocky Mountain Man is designed by Nate Hayden with art by Commode Minstrels and Bullfaced, Manifester, Marjoral, Victoria Shin, and Wizard 333. Wow, some very mysterious names there. So Rocky Mountain Man, the setting is the 1820s old American West, and I'm just going to read the description of the game from the website. Before the old American West, there was a mysterious, largely unknown mountainous region west of the Mississippi known as the Rocky Mountains. Characterized by its rocky geography, this mountain range spans from northern New Mexico into Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana, and ending in British Columbia. The mountain men were the first people of the young United States to venture into the unknown Rockies and begin to live among it. So Rocky Mountain Man is an adventure game set in the American Old West, and it employs trapping beavers and gaining their pelts, surviving, hiking, and exploring in this territory. The game does a great job of making this region come to life. The documentation provided in the game provides some historical context for everything, and I think that is fantastic, especially because it does deal with some themes of some Native American people. And so providing that context is super, super important. The mechanisms also reinforce the game's themes by providing this kind of survival-like style of gameplay. Now, I would love to see a deluxe version of Rocky Mountain Man, because as the game is now, it's a portfolio game where you have to cut out your own cards, and it's kind of made on the cheap. But I would love to see a deluxe version of this board game with really high quality components and maps and art on the cards to even further sell its theme. So at number 5 is Rocky Mountain Man. Okay, so coming in from number 4, we are moving from the American Old West into a steampunk version of Venice. We are moving over into Europe with Carnival Zombie. And Carnival Zombie, I'm featuring the 2nd edition because that is the one I have. Designed by Matteo Santos with art by Joe Kularis. So like I said, Carnival Zombie takes place in a kind of steampunk-like horror version of Venice. And it is the Venice built upon the back of a giant Leviathan, a giant once slumbering beast that is slowly coming back to life and destroying the city around it, unleashing hordes of the walking dead and vile demonic commanders of the undead armies. The game is a tower defense / adventure game with a different kind of in-game scenario depending on where you end up on the map of Venice. I think it reinforces its theme and its setting with amazing art and mechanisms that help build the tension and the in-game scenarios that take advantage of that setting. You might need to use one of the city's many bridges to escape your demise, or perhaps capture control of an airship to fly to safety. The city map, the game board, is the entire focus of the game as everything is tracked on that game board. So it really does focus your attention on the map on the city of Venice. As different areas of Venice are destroyed, you really start to feel that tension as your options become more limited. So number 4 is Carnival Zombie 2nd Edition. Okay, so we're moving from Venice to Eastern Europe and into the post-apocalyptic meltdown world of Chernobyl, and that is with Zona, the Secrets of Chernobyl. This is designed by Maciej Druing, Krzysztof Glosnicki, with art by Wojciech Bajor, Katarzyna Fibzer, and Tomek Zaruki. I apologize for the pronunciation of some of those names. So like I said, Zona, The Secrets of Chernobyl takes place in a post-Fallout version of Chernobyl, but a very kind of stylized science fiction genre version of that setting. It takes place in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. This is a survival adventure board game in which the players are looking for artifacts and gear and clues while unraveling the secrets of this science fiction version of post-nuclear disaster Chernobyl. This is Roadside Picnic meets Stalker. The encounters are a really good mix of human and mutated beast encounters. So in all of these kinds of post-apocalyptic genre things, we usually find that humanity is the worst monsters around, and we are constantly kind of having to deal with the evil of mankind. But in this game, we are also having to deal with some mutated beasts and a mutated environment, which the environment itself is super hostile towards these survivors, making it hard to have these adventures in this hostile land. The art depicts an area greatly impacted by the nuclear fallout. The vegetations and creatures are mutated, and the wilderness itself is highly dangerous. The gear you find is often not in the best shape, and the overall hazardousness of the environment really creates for some good tension as you are working through different kind of military bases and installations, and you're working towards the heart of the nuclear reactor itself to win the game, to get to that end game. So number 3 was Zona, The Secrets of Chernobyl. Number 2, so we're moving from post-apocalyptic meltdown Chernobyl back to old-timey America. And number 2 is a Vagrant Song. And Vagrant Song, designed by Matt Carter, Justin Gibbs, and Kyle Rowan, with art by Nguyen Mai Diem. So Vagrant Song, old-timey animated train. The whole game takes place on a ghost train called the Silver Ferryman. And the players are playing hobos who have jumped on board the train to ride the rails and soon find themselves having to do battle with haunting entities called haints. The game utilizes its single location to great effect, mainly through the stories it tells as you are battling bosses from one train car to the next, trying to survive your harrowing journey. The old-timey animation art and theme go a long way to really selling the setting of this train, of this journey. And they do a really good job of making the Silver Ferryman feel more real than just a cardboard depiction of a game board on your table. The game does get under your skin. It looks innocent. It looks kind of inviting with its cartoony style, but the writing and the things you are doing from one turn to the next as you are figuring out this, what the haints are, is kind of creepy. And I think it does a really good job of making you feel like you are confined in this train and fighting for your very survival. So number 2 is Vagrant Song. And then finally we come to from old-timey America into a little more recent part of America, or a little more recent time in America, and that is the 1990s and in the American heartland. And number 1 is the Ghost Betwixt, designed by Dustin Freund, with art by Travis Hansen and Cole Munro Chitty. So, the Ghost Betwixt is a dungeon crawl set in a Halloween-themed haunted house. It's a roadside attraction in the heart of America. This is such a creative use of a setting, and it invokes strong sense of nostalgia for the fall. We have kids going back to school, leaves changing color, and the air at night getting colder, a chill in the morning, and the first hints of frost of the season. Ghost Betwixt revels in this autumnal setting. The setting is like some kind of a Saturday morning cartoon version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as the players move through a maze-like house exploring living rooms, kitchens, bathrooms, and basements. It's such a great and creative setting for a dungeon crawl. The game sells its theme and setting with a ton of loot like holy water loaded squirt guns, bats, football pad armor, chewing gum, and common household foods like candy and milk or juice as healing items. It further bolsters its theme and setting by having the players play as a strong family unit who need to work together to succeed to overcome the perilous quest that they are on. So the number one game with a unique setting, and I think it really does sell the setting. It uses its setting in a great way, is the Ghost Betwixt. So all right, you guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this list of 5 games with unique settings. What are some of the games that you enjoy that have unique settings? Let us know down in the comments and we can discuss them.